anything, right? Like, you can't just take one data point and roll with it, but that's what we're going to do tonight. And I think that's also what a lot of people have been doing with the Miami Dolphins out there at Hard Rock Stadium. You know, I get it. I understand why you would be a person that would say, these Dolphins, they don't move me. The Miami Dolphins are a team that I don't believe in when it comes to going deep in the playoffs, when it comes to competing against teams that are that fancy themselves as contenders in the NFL. And also, maybe you just don't think the whole operation they have is very promising, is very threatening when it comes from Mike McDaniel or Tua Tagovailoa, and really that plethora of speed that they have around him on that offense. But I would beg to differ here. I think the general public has lined up and have taken shots at this Dolphins team in a way that I think has now gone too far. We've passed that threshold of, yeah, this is a fun team. They won't contend, to where now there's people that are outright out on the Dolphins, out on the extension that Tua Tagovailoa got this year. And I believe this season, I asked the question on Twitter, I asked it also on Instagram, who is going to prove everybody wrong this season in the NFL? Which squad, which player, which coach is going to perform at a level, execute in a way that has literally everybody like, damn, I cannot believe I was that out on this guy, that team, that player. And to me, it's Tua Tagovailoa and the Miami Dolphins. You can't take the one data point of last year's playoff loss, the wild card loss against the Chiefs in the and I'm not blaming the conditions because it was cold for both teams, but it was super cold that day at Arrowhead Stadium. It was also against the Kansas City Chiefs team that would go on to literally go on the toughest trek we've seen a Super Bowl winning team go on. They will go on to win at Buffalo as underdogs, at Baltimore as underdogs. Sorry about that, C-Katt.
It's okay.
And then in the Super Bowl against the San Francisco 49ers, a team that was so stacked, so heavily competitive, a team that had such a positive EPA, estimated points added, when you talk about the defense and offense, that when you add up what the Chiefs went through, the Niners, the Bills, the Ravens, and also even the Dolphins, that was the toughest trek we've seen a team go on. And Patrick Mahomes did that with a bunch of receivers and weapons that were not up to par. That Chiefs team was dominant. Don't look at the Dolphins losing that one game with a depleted defense, with a roster that had, at that point in the season, lost so much talent on that side of the ball, it was hard for them to even stop a nosebleed. Don't take that one data point and try and put limitations on this Miami Dolphins team. They have a few things going for them right now. They have confidence in themselves. They've got continuity because year after year, this squad has now been together. This is Tua's third year going into it with Mike McDaniel. And you know what else they got, C-Katt, according to Tua himself?
What's that?
They got that it factor.
I'm curious for you, at what moment kind of did you realize that you had gained the respect of the team as a vocal leader?
Like the it factor? I've had the it factor. No, I've had the it factor.
What is that?
Yeah, to reassure you at the end. You laugh, but I do.
She didn't mention it factor in her question. And by the way, this is from Tua Tagovailoa's press appearance. He speaks every Wednesday to the media, and this is from yesterday. Tua at the podium asked about when he gained the confidence of his team. He volunteers it factors, and it felt very Russell Wilson-y to me.
Yes.
Right?
You can't say that. Other people should tell you that you have the it factor. You can't manufacture that. It's like coming up with your own nickname.
Just when I was starting to try to buy in, just when I was starting to try to make this case for the Dolphins, things like that are what kind of peel that curtain back to me of, okay, I see why y'all are out on the Dolphins. I see why you don't understand why the amount of juice they have in that offense, as well as this year with Jalen Phillips coming back, with Jalen Ramsey as the corner out there, having a full season now, a full offseason to work and train with the Dolphins. And also, you're going to hope that you get some production out of your first-round pick, Chop Robinson, right? Like, there's reasons to be optimistic about the Dolphins on defense, that they'll be better than they were on the back half of last year. But then there's also reasons to kind of, get a sick taste in your mouth when you hear Tua say things like that. But it would never drive me to the point of where the big homie, and again, this guy's like fam to me. I rock with him, unsportsmanlike, every morning, 6 to 10 a.m., Monday through Friday with Evan Cohen and Michelle Smallman. My guy, the Super Bowl champion, Chris Canty. It would never drive me to this point, which, again, he tees off on Tua at any given moment. He's like some of the trolls on Twitter at some times, and here he was yesterday just, again, tearing down on a guy that literally led the league in passing yards last year.
The guy's only had one healthy season in 4 years in the National Football League, and you might have heard me say this before, but he's never won a division. He's never won a playoff game. He had a 3-game lead in the win column with 5 weeks to go in the regular season and blew it to the Buffalo Bills, lost to them on his home field in Week 18. What are we talking about? There's plenty to be skeptical of Tua about.
There's a lot to be skeptical about, but there's also a lot to be optimistic about. There's a lot to be shown that I believe Tua and the Dolphins will show this year. Will they win a playoff game? I don't think so. Right? But I don't think that's the barometer for if they are a good team, if they are a successful team, because the AFC is just so damn stacked. It's a loaded question to ask in September if the Miami Dolphins can win in the playoffs, because first of all, I don't know where they're going to be playing at. I don't know the health of them or their opponent. And also, when I look at the AFC, you got the Chiefs, you got the Ravens, you got the Texans, you got potentially in their own division the threat of the Bills and the Jets. You got the Bengals. The Browns might be good this year. There's so many good teams in the AFC. Like, how many do you feel confident about? Before the NFL season starts, C-Katt, how many AFC teams would you confidently say this team will not only make the playoffs, but win at least one game?
I mean, you can only confidently say that about the Chiefs, in all honesty, because the Chiefs and whoever's lucky enough to not have to play the Chiefs in their round of the playoffs, they're going to get a win. So it's uncomfortable to say that. You can kind of say that about a couple of different NFC teams.
Yeah.
The teams you rattled off, I think I agree with you, that are going to be certified good NFL teams.
Yeah.
Maybe not win a playoff game.
That's true. I didn't think about that. So, because you don't feel confident right now, as good as the Texans are, as much of an improvement we expect DeMeco Ryans to have that defense on next year, it's hard. It's easy to say they'll make the playoffs. It's hard to guarantee they're going to win.
It's almost like the college football argument before the 12-team playoff.
Yeah.
Where just because you're in a stacked conference with 2 Titans at the top of your conference and you don't make it to this conference championship game, you don't make a ripple in the college football playoff, that doesn't mean that you have a garbage program that needs to fire their coach. And I'm projecting heavily right now. I don't mean to bring this about my team.
Oh, forgot. Hold on. Pump the brakes. Pump the brakes. Yeah. Pump the brakes. Where's my This guy's a Penn State fan.
Exactly. Penn State's in a conference with Ohio State and Michigan, and they can't beat either of the 2 teams.
Where's Mike Rizzo when you need him?
That doesn't mean Penn State stinks and is awful as a program. It means they kind of drew a bad set of cards. By playing in the AFC at the quarterback position, by playing with your football team in the AFC, you're kind of behind the 8 ball because of how many other contenders for a Super Bowl there already are in your conference.
I agreed with you up to the point where I realized you were caping for your own alma mater, Penn State. I will say this, and again, a big happy 100 shows if you're on YouTube right there. We made it up there to the top century mark. Woo! Let's go, theoretically speaking. I will say this. At some point, that streak has to end for the Dolphins. You don't go firing Mike McDaniel, who they did end up, for Mike McDaniel and the Dolphins' sake, I'm glad that they extended him out to 3 more years, extending him out to where Tua contract is going to end as well. You don't go firing your coach. You don't go looking for a new quarterback just because you can't get over the hump of winning a playoff game. That streak is embarrassing, or let's call it a drought of 24 straight years of not winning a playoff game. But that streak is not going anywhere if you're going to be in this loaded conference right now, which you can't change. And also, this, to me, is the year where the Miami Dolphins prove themselves to be a sustainable team that can compete at a high level. They'll beat playoff teams in the regular season. They'll prove to be good on both sides of the ball. Mike McDaniel's going to take another step. Tua, who, again, this is now year 3 for Tua. He led the league in passing last year. Here's Tua again from yesterday. Here he is talking about how, as good as he looked as a leader, as a point guard of that offense last year, and he played all 17 games. He proved the health thing right. Now that he's got Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle locked back up, Odell Beckham Jr. coming who knows when, and you got a load of running backs in the backfield, the dude is feeling even more good.
I think I'm seeing it a lot better. It's a little clearer than it was last year. It's a little clearer than it was the year before.
He's feeling better than he was last year. Just like your quarterback, Lamar Jackson, Tua Tagovailoa shed some weight this year so he can be a little bit more shifty, a little more mobile, because that was a part of the detriment for him. That he loaded up so he could be healthy, and it made him more of a statue, which we've already talked about. The statue quarterback in the NFL today is obsolete. There are no more. And if you are one, it's because you're about 40 years old. You're so damn good at moving the defense with your eyes, having a big arm like a Matthew Stafford, or also just a genius up top. Like, there's barely any quarterbacks coming into the league today that can't move around. Tua's going to be able to move a little better. Tua has more of a command over this offense now. His weapons are locked up long-term. He's locked up long-term. His coach locked up long-term. There's something to be said about continuity. The Texans are injecting Stephon Diggs into this thing. They've only got 2 years now, 1 year in the fold. This is year 2 for them. The Bills just got rid of like 800 targets from Josh Allen. There's something to be said about continuity. The Dolphins are going to be the team, and Tua Tagovailoa, specifically at quarterback, is going to be the guy who proves everybody wrong this year, and I'm calling it right here. Literally on the day that the NFL season opens up, I'm calling it right here to you now because I don't want y'all having this revisionist history stuff. I hate when y'all wait until it's happening and then you get on the train. I told y'all before Anthony Edwards became a big deal how big the dude was going to be. I told y'all before J.J. Redick got that Lakers job that was locked, sealed, and delivered. I told you a lot of things. That's just NBA stuff. I've been talking football stuff too. I told you about the Canes in the preseason here. Now everybody's on the Heisman train with Cam Ward. Listen now. Tua is going to prove something to you that you didn't think he had in you. Who in the NFL or what is going to prove the most this year? Prove the most people wrong. 100 episodes in and I can't even get my words out. Who in the NFL is going to prove the most people wrong this year coming into the 2024 season as we kick things off on Thursday Night Football? Hit us up on the Baptist Health Hotline, 888-760-3776. 888-760-3776. That's the number to call into the show. You feel it on your heart. You want to say it right now. You know what's up. Who do you think is going to prove somebody wrong this year in the NFL? And call it today. Don't wait until it happens, because if you wait until it happens, you're a coward. 888-760-3776. That's the Baptist Health Hotline. Are you experiencing foot and ankle pain and need to see an expert in the field? Baptist Health Orthopedic Care is a team of foot and ankle orthopedic surgeons and specialists who are regarded as leaders in their specialty. Visit baptisthealth.net/ortho to learn more today. Baptist Health Orthopedic Care combines its resources of experienced physicians and leading-edge treatments and technology to provide advanced orthopedic, foot and ankle, joint replacement, spine, and sports medicine care. Visit baptisthealth.net/ortho for more information today. Baptist Health Orthopedic Care has offices conveniently located in Palm Beach County through the Florida Keys. Learn more by visiting baptisthealth.net/ortho. This is what we've all been waiting for. This is the start, the kickoff of the NFL season. If you're not pumped up for today, if you don't have the blood just churning through your veins right now like I do, if you're not excited, if you're not getting going like me and C-Katt are going to do when we go to Duffy Sports Grill tonight off of Linton and Federal. I know the crossroads. Don't try me. Linton and Federal out there in Delray Beach to watch some football. I don't know what's in you. I don't know what you got. What do you need? What else do you need to get optimistic, to get energetic, to get pumped up for a show or a day than having NFL football return with Chris Collinsworth singing the praises of Patrick Mahomes going up against Lamar Jackson? And one of the things that gets lost on this, really good offenses, really electric offenses, and really big named quarterbacks in Mahomes and Lamar, who are the 1 and 2 in the NFL right now. We've already settled that here on Theoretically Speaking. But also, the Chiefs and the Ravens had the top 2 scoring defenses last year as well. This is going to be a dogfight. These are 2 playoff teams, 2 teams that met in the AFC Championship game that don't want to give up any ground to each other. And the X factor, the dude I'm most afraid of as a Chiefs fan, 22. Is he wearing 2 or 22 with the Ravens, Derrick Henry?
I believe it's 22.
22. Derrick Henry, who has torched the Chiefs pretty much every time he's faced them, whether that be with the Tennessee Titans or literally, I guess it was just only with the Tennessee Titans. So hit us up on the Baptist Health Hotline, 888-760-3776. who is going to prove the most people wrong when it comes to this NFL season. I got Tua Tagovailoa and the Dolphins doing it because I think the hate has gotten a little too great. Pump the brakes. We got our guy, Matt in Wellington.
Mike.
Matt is – oh, sorry, Matt. Sorry, Mike. Mike, you're in Wellington. Mike, you're on Theoretically Speaking. Theoretically, I can get your name right if I could read. Who do you think is going to prove the most people wrong here in the NFL today?
Hey, what's going on, Theo? Happy opening day, gentlemen. Today's a good day.
Yes.
Theo, just a shout out. I missed listening to you and Ken at the the old 12 o'clock hour last year. So I've been listening a long time. Just want to say appreciate everything. I think honestly, I might be doing a big shot in the dark here, but I think Caleb's going to prove a lot of people wrong. I think he's been set up really well as a rookie over there in Chicago with the weapons that have been around him. I know he's getting a lot of hate, but I think he's really going to prove a lot of people wrong and have a really good year. I see him finishing as a top 10 quarterback this year. I don't know if you agree on my take, but I wanted y'all to just talk about that. Let me know what you think about that.
Mike, I appreciate the call right there. And if you've been tapped in with Theoretically Speaking, C-Katt, do I agree with that take or do I agree with that take?
I mean, you've been giving Caleb Williams his flowers that he asks for.
I mean, like, literally that he asked for. Did Caleb ask for flowers? Is that what you're insinuating?
A little bit.
Yeah, he might be a guy that would accept some flowers. He's, he kicks it. He kicks it. He's a little, he's cool with that kind of stuff. But Caleb Williams, he is the guy. A Heisman winning quarterback, the real prince that was promised, and he was set up so perfectly by the Chicago Bears, getting him all those weapons. I'm all the way in. The one thing I will push back on with Mike in Wellington is I haven't really heard detractors. Like, yeah, people hate on him because he paints his nails. Yeah, people might think that the Bears aren't going to be good enough because they're the Bears. But you can't give me a real solid counterpoint as to how the Bears won't be good this year and how they won't smash that win total of 8.5. It's not happening.
It's just a division, right? Tough division. Lions were good last year. Jordan Love got paid. You assume the Packers are going to be good this year. That's the only reason I can think the Bears could maybe fall short of what we expect them to do.
I get it. I get any kind of because everybody don't got to be a believer, right? Like, some people going to hate, some people are going to detract, some people are just not going to have it within them to have the faith. But boy, can I tell you, same way when I talked to Cam Ward this offseason, I said, oh, that guy's going to be a guy. Caleb Williams is going to be that dude in the NFL instantly, and people that aren't believers are going to be eating their words. We have Joe in Jupiter. Joe's in Jupiter. He's on Theoretically Speaking. And I would assume Joe, who is a huge Dallas Cowboys fan, is going to have something Dallas-related. Joe, who do you think is going to prove most people wrong in the NFL this year, Joe?
First of all, congratulations on your new time slot.
Appreciate it, man.
Love it that I can tune in. It's kind of hard sometimes to do that 5 to 6, but I'm going to be listening every day now. So
yeah. Hey, Joe. First off, before you go, that in itself warms my heart. It's episode 100. Having Joe and Jupiter back on the show, back chopping it up often, that warms my heart. So me and C-Katt excited about that. Who do you think is going to again prove the most people wrong though in the NFL today?
You think I'm going to come on here and say, yeah, the Cowboys are going to go 13-4 and win the Super Bowl? You know what? I'm done with that.
Whoa.
I'm very interested in wanting them to do the best that they can. But after 30 years of misery, I'm going to say anybody predicting the Cowboys to do that is wrong. They're going to go probably 2-6 to start the season. Very tough schedule. Dak's going to play out his contract and be with another team next year. That's my prediction. McCarthy will be gone. I hate to say this, but I'm through being put to the misery. I'm going to wish for their victories, but they're going to lose on Sunday probably. And I hate to say it. It pains me, as you know.
Joe, that you know what?
I mean, what do I do? Do I go with the Texans? Do I become a Texans
I get it.
fan?
No, Joe.
What happened, Joe?
Joe, stop. We're going to look, first off, appreciate the call. Let's get him up. Let's get Joe off. He needs time to breathe. He needs time to think. Now, for people that don't know Joe in Jupiter, he's an emotional dude at times. He has his ups and downs with his Dallas teams, right? He's been through a lot. He had to see the Mavericks lose the finals last year. I mean, but he's never questioned his fandom with the Dallas Cowboys. I hope that Michelle Smallman's journey picking the Packers, I hope that my journey a couple of years ago picking the Chiefs, don't influence you off the hump of the Cowboys because you are Dallas through and through. You're Cowboys through and through. They've won 12 games each of the past 3 years. They'll probably do the same this year, and then they'll break your heart in the playoffs. You
can't renounce fanship before a season because of expectations. That broke my heart. That legitimately broke my heart.
That's what I'm saying. He just needs time to think about it. I didn't want him to talk himself into any corners and say anything on radio that he didn't mean. So, Joe and Jupiter, we love you. We're glad to have you back here on Theoretically Speaking. Now that we're in our new time slot, 2 to 4. Can't wait to have you fire off more optimistic Cowboys takes. But take some time. Breathe. The season's just starting. All right, C-Katt's Ravens about to get their ass whooped tonight. And he's not going to give up on them.
Nope.
Don't be the same. We have one more caller. We'll take one more caller on who in the NFL is going to prove the most people wrong. I've got the Dolphins and Tua doing that because you guys are all out on them just because they lost to some playoff teams last year. Tyreek Hill got banged up. They had that division in the bag. A lot of weird things happened to Miami last year. Hopefully those things don't happen this year. You need luck in the NFL. We got Kade in West Palm. Kade, you are on Theoretically Speaking today. Kade, happy NFL Day to you.
Happy NFL Day to you too, Theo.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How you feeling, man? This is Kade Chumsland, our guy, ESPN West Palm Play. How are you feeling? Who do you think is going to have the most people after this season saying, dang, I can't believe I called that wrong?
Hey, listen, I think that Baker Mayfield's going to have a lot to prove in the NFC South. Earlier this year, you made a take that the Falcons absolutely have that division locked up.
Yeah, it's over.
I think Baker Mayfield is going to have a lot to say about that. You just talked about Tua having the consistency of weapons and coaches. No one from that Buccaneers offense left this offseason, and they locked up Mike Evans for a few more seasons. So I think Mayfield is in a very similar position as Tua, and he's going to have a lot to say in that division.
Kate, I appreciate your call. I think that is it's a very level take. It's a very level take. Here's the one pushback. They lost a genius. They lost the mastermind behind that. Brain drain hurts, and we also have never seen back-to-back good seasons from Baker Mayfield. So when you lose David Canales to the Panthers, and we say he was the reason Baker was good, and we're also saying he might be the reason why that we have a good Bryce Young year following the abysmal season we saw last year in Carolina. We can't say that same thing and then expect for Baker Mayfield to follow up that season without the guy that orchestrated it all in a strong way. C-Katt, what's your feel on this? Do you think he can repeat some of that same magic, which he's never shown us before?
Yeah, Baker always plays with a chip on his shoulder. Sometimes it makes him look silly because he's fighting ghosts that are not actually his detractors at the moment. I think this is one of those situations where it's going to help him again. Many people, like you, are already crowning the Falcons the division champions because they got Kirk Cousins, because they got rid of their coach, and they have someone who's going to maybe run that offense a little bit better than